Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're talking about a massive shift in scientific research, but we're going to do it through the eyes of someone who's lived it, a veteran scientist on the front lines of medical discovery. And let me tell you, what she experienced, well, it could change just about everything.
Right, let's just start with that quote, because wow, it fundamentally will change the way we do science. This isn't just about a slightly faster computer or some new app. According to Dr. Daria Uniutas, we're talking about changing the scientific method itself. That's a huge claim. So let's dig into what made her say that. So first, to really understand the impact here, you've got to understand the person at the center of this story. This is about a journey that spans more than 3 decades. 35 years. Just let that sink in for a second. That is a lifetime dedicated to one of the most complicated puzzles out there, the human immune system. That's a whole career on the front line.
So this is Dr. Anutis. As a human immunologist, her life's work is figuring out how our bodies fight back against threats, and crucially, how those defenses can sometimes go wrong and lead to diseases like cancer. It's a field where progress is usually measured in tiny, hard-won steps.
Now let's talk about the core problem that she and pretty much every scientist is up against in the lab. It's a problem of just immense scale. I mean, really think about it. It's a question that could honestly be paralyzing. When you're trying to solve a puzzle that nobody on Earth has ever solved before, your choices, the paths you could possibly take, they're almost infinite. And that's the day-to-day reality of research. For every single experiment that works, there are literally hundreds, maybe thousands, of paths that just lead nowhere. Choosing which idea to chase, which hypothesis to test, it's one of the biggest gambles in science. It just eats up so much time, money, and energy. So, Dr. Anutis was already using AI in her lab. But then something changed. Something changed in a really big way when she got her hands on a next-generation model. It wasn't just a better tool, it was a completely different kind of partner.
And this right here is the key. For over a year, she'd been using AI as a collaborator. A smart partner to bounce ideas off of, to help critique her own thinking. But this new model, it was something else entirely. It became a mentor. It was giving her new information she didn't already have, acting like a guide with way deeper insight.
Can you even imagine that for a second? You spend 35 years becoming a world-class expert in your field, and you come face-to-face with a tool that knows more than you do about your own specialty. That's got to be a humbling and, as we're about to see, an incredibly powerful moment. Yeah, this is way beyond just collaboration. Okay, so this all sounds pretty revolutionary in theory, but how did this AI mentor actually hold up when it was thrown a real scientific curveball from a real-world experiment? All right, here's the story. The team was doing this super important experiment, trying to engineer immune cells to better hunt down cancer. They get all this data back, and it's what she called beautiful, just a rich data set. But they hit a brick wall. They had no idea what it was telling them. So, Dr. Anutis just uploaded all of that raw, confusing data to the AI, and the response was a total game changer. It didn't just organize the data, it gave them remarkable new insights and actually pointed them to the exact follow-up experiments they should run to prove it. So that one interaction, that one aha moment, it hints at something much, much bigger. What does having a mentor like this actually mean for the speed of science itself?
And this is where it gets absolutely nuts. Instead of a scientist having to try 1,000 different things just hoping one of them works, the AI can cut through the noise and say, nope, forget all that, focus on these 10. It can basically predict what's going to happen in an experiment before you even run it. The leap in efficiency is just staggering.
So the domino effect here is huge. We're talking about saving weeks, maybe even months of research on just one single problem. By predicting outcomes and pinpointing the best experiments, this AI mentor doesn't just speed up one lab, it could accelerate the entire scientific process, getting new treatments and cures to people years faster than we ever thought possible.
But look, beyond all the data and the insane efficiency, there's a real human story playing out here. For a scientist who has seen it all, this was something totally new, on a really personal, emotional level.
That's not exactly the kind of thing you expect to hear from a top researcher talking about a tool. It really speaks to how profound this interaction was. That feeling of seeing decades of your life's work suddenly jump forward. of seeing a clear path where before there was just fog.
And all of that emotion, it leads to this. An incredible statement of absolute certainty. After 35 years of finding her way through that limitless maze, this new mentor has given her a new kind of confidence. Those dreams that have driven her entire career, they suddenly don't just feel possible, they feel inevitable.
And that's really the big question we want to leave you with. We just saw the incredible impact this had on one scientist, on one experiment. So what happens when this kind of power, this kind of mentor, is in the hands of every researcher, in every lab, in every field, all over the world? What new discoveries are waiting just around the corner, and how fast could we actually get there?